Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 8:07, this fourth hour of our 4-hour program, and it's been a busy one because it's the first day of early voting in Virginia. Earlier in the show, we had John Reed, the candidate for lieutenant governor. We had Jason Miyares, the current attorney general running for re-election. And coming up in 30 minutes, we'll speak with lieutenant governor and gubernatorial candidate Winsome Sears. It's a big day, Virginia.
All right.
Get out there now. It's O'Connor and Company, Larry and Patrice. Good morning, Patrice.
Good morning. Happy Friday, Larry.
Amen to that. Happy Friday to you. And there's a lot to talk about with the co-chair of the Republican National Committee, Casey Crosbie. Real fast, though, let's get through the early voting stuff first before we get into some of the news of the day and the week. And it's been quite a week, 10-day cycle here that we're in the midst of. First of all, Casey Crosbie, Madam Co-Chair, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
From your perspective, from the Republican National Committee, with the data and the metrics and the get-out-the-vote efforts and all of that jazz. Why is it important to utilize it when a state like Virginia does have early voting protocols? Why is it important for Republicans to get out now as early as possible and vote? Why does that assist the candidate?
Well, it's certainly helpful for us for tracking how the candidate's doing and where we need to target our efforts. I mean, obviously campaigns are very expensive and we need to make sure that, we get these people out to vote. And when they don't vote early, it costs us money because we're tracking them down, trying to get people out to vote. So, we encourage everybody to get out, utilize this as a tool. There's many tools in the box to be able to go out and vote, and this is one of them. And we really encourage people to do that, really specifically because in the long run, it does save us some money. We can use those resources to go chase voters that maybe lower propensity voters that can help us swing elections.
Yeah, those are really good reasons for Virginia voters to start today and vote. Thinking big picture, though, and just kind of going nationally, obviously, the murder of Charlie Kirk has been in the headlines, grabbing the headlines. And earlier this week, it was so nice to see so many people, go out and show their support through vigils, and obviously at the Kennedy Center honoring him. What is your perspective and take on kind of just the response, not just conservatives, but broadly of people in response to this assassination of Charlie Kirk?
Well, I mean, I think first and foremost, a lot of us are sad. Many of us knew Charlie personally. Charlie endorsed me when I ran for treasurer for the RNC, and certainly I heard Caroline Leavitt speak at the Kennedy Center memorial, and she did a beautiful job, but she said, I don't know that I would be here without the support of Charlie Kirk. And I think so many of us feel the same way. He was Christian first. I mean, he loved Jesus and preached the gospel. Obviously, I think President Trump has said that he was instrumental in getting out the youth vote, which we saw that demographic grow tremendously in this last presidential cycle. And, I think we owe a lot to Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA. And certainly it has hit us in so many different ways. Our building alone, we have lots of young people who came up through Turning Point who are first in our building. And, they were sad, very, very sad, but also their families, their friends were concerned for their safety as they're coming in and out of, the Republican National Committee headquarters.
Yes,
and so it's touched a lot of us very hard. It has been a very difficult week. And then, to know that just such a young father with these two young kids and a precious wife was killed in such a violent way just for going out and trying to have discussions with people. It's truly unbelievable.
Well, and we've been speaking quite a bit since that horrible day, September 10th. And Vice President J.D. Vance just recently echoed the idea that all the both sides conversation that we're hearing about how there's violence on both sides, sure, maybe, although I think it's completely asymmetrical, Chairwoman Crosbie. But even more so, there's one side for the last 10 years who have relentlessly dehumanized Republicans and conservatives by calling us fascist. Trump is Hitler, Nazis, we will never have another election in this country if Trump wins, it's the end of our republic, they're authoritarian, totalitarian. And I just want you to listen. This is yesterday, just a week after the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Here's Jasmine Crockett on a podcast, Cut 16. Listen.
But we got to come together because it's not each other that is the problem. It's the other side. It's the fascist. It's the wannabe dictator. It is, the hater in chief. It is the racist in chief. Like, that is like what we've got to get out of. And so I think we will.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing when you dehumanize your political opponent that inspires an evil person to pick up a gun and do something about it. Casey Crosbie, she's not a backbencher. She's a superstar, and I haven't heard one Democrat denounce her for that or say, hey, maybe we should tamp this down. In fact, they benefit from Jasmine Crockett. They raise money off of Jasmine Crockett. How do we move on from here? How do we need to keep calling this out, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really just absurd that that's, just yesterday that those words are being said after we have such a tragic event. And, and I think you can see nationally, I mean, the Democrats are really struggling. Their leaders like the Jasmine Crockett's, the AOCs, the Mamdanis are not in touch with middle America. And I think that we're seeing that last time I was on your show, we talked about how voter registration in states that track by party, the Dems are down over 2 million, while the Republicans are up by over 2.4 million. They're overall with the DNC, their financing and their investors are not buying into their message. And, it's truly unbelievable to me that, your moderate Democrats will put up with this woke left messaging right now, because the numbers and the support just doesn't follow the message. But it's just truly unbelievable. I can't believe that that's what she was just saying yesterday, particularly given we're just a little over a week out of the tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk. And again, they're just completely out of touch with middle America.
We're speaking with Casey Crosbie, RNC co-chair. Bringing it back to Virginia and the races, we have seen a tremendous amount of money coming into the state of Virginia, on the left side in particular, to support candidates like Abigail Spanberger. And it's so interesting to see them nationalizing this issue as though they're running against President Trump, not against, Winsome Earl Sears or the other Republican candidates. Can you speak to kind of the fundraising side on the Republican side? How do you see this playing out and impacting the races?
Yeah, absolutely. We have had staff on the ground in Virginia. Those are resources that we've poured into the state since last May. Clearly, we've had we saw during 2024, when you protect the vote and you recruit poll workers and poll watchers, that is very beneficial to winning elections. And, I'm happy between Virginia and New Jersey, we have recruited over 1,800 poll workers for this election cycle. I know in Arlington, for example, I think Senator Warner was out trying to rally people today, but even the Arlington Republican Party, I mean, they're answering, and they've mailed out 25,000 sample ballots to a presidential election year turnout universe. And so even in Arlington, they're fired up to elect our Republican ticket, which is outstanding, with Winsome at the top. John Reed's great. I mean, you just have such a strong ticket. And, going back to the messaging, I mean, Spanberger, she is once again saying she supports Virginia being a sanctuary state and having sanctuary cities, when MS-13 gang members are in the state of Virginia, in fact, recruiting in middle schools. I mean, this is what people need to understand is going on in your state. And they can nationalize it and make it against Trump. But when you look at her policies, these 80-20 policies that she is so strongly behind, and how detrimental it could be for your state moving forward, particularly after 4 years of Glenn Youngkin, who's just been amazing with his policies. We need to get people out to vote.
Well, Abigail Spanberger, as you just noted, is outraising Winsome Sears right now, and most of that money is coming from out of state. That's from political organizations. Well-funded, deep-pocketed political organizations out of state who want to change Virginia. And you also just noted that the DNC nationally is struggling with fundraising, and the RNC, the numbers are phenomenal. You guys are awash with cash. We don't know how this election is going to go 50 days from now, but can you at least say to Virginia voters that at the end of the day, the RNC is going to do whatever it can with its funding to make sure that this is not a money question afterwards, and that Winsome Sears said, well, we could have won, but we were outspent. You guys have the money. Are you guys going to come to the table?
Well, and I think we're always outspent. If you look at a national level, I mean, during this last presidential cycle, Harris had over $1 billion that she blew through. We tend to be very targeted in our spending. Like I said, we have been doing trainings and election integrity trainings across the state of Virginia. We have staff on the ground. We have been increasing that staff. And yes, we're putting the necessary resources into where we think we can make a difference in the state of Virginia.
All right. We'll follow up as the campaign continues. It is the first day of early voting,
so
but
much.
there's still a whole lot of work to be done to
Yes,
Election Day. Casey Crosbie,
for
thank
sure.
you, co-chair of the RNC. And I'm sure her staff knows I'm going to keep asking that question.